Getting ready to install a 70s, late 70s slant 6 and a 63 Valiant. Engine ran good, changed the water pump and timing chain just to be on the safe side. Just kind of gave it a makeover. It's got electronic ignition, not sure what kind, not like Chrysler anyways. And okay, here this plate that attaches to the crankshaft is a different size than the 60s plate. The center hole is larger, but the holes that connect to the converter is correct, so that's good. And it's got to be clocked a certain way as well, which I got marked with some paint on the torque converter and on that plate. So anyways, should be good. I'm going to try and put this in without taking the hood off. We took the engine out without taking the hood off. Just like Uncle Tony showed on YouTube, but he didn't show putting it back in. So hopefully we'll get some shots. It's almost in. Inches to spare. Just like Uncle Tony says. Well, it's in. It wasn't the easiest thing in the world. Things just didn't want to line up, but it went in. Hood's still on. Never came off. Tranny's lined up. Still got to put some more bolts in it, but even the exhaust is ready to go. But anyways, just an update before we fired it up. A couple small issues. Okay, this transmission line, we should have had it on before as the engine was going in, because it's pretty hard to get it in between the exhaust manifold and the exhaust pipe. And I had bought new engine mounts for it, and they were slightly lower, I suppose, than the original ones, and it was actually touching the center link, so I just had to shim it up with some quarter plate and some washers. Engine had power steering at one time, so it came with that bracket there and the double pulley on the fan, and the alternator bracket that sits it out the extra half an inch or so. Well, with this Champion rad, because it's fairly thick, and it actually could have gone ahead a tiny bit, probably a good half inch. It could have gone ahead, and that would have been enough to keep the pulleys if you got power steering. So I'm not sure if this rad is for, I didn't buy this rad, previous owner did, so I don't know if they make a rad for power steering type car. And I also have to go with the 60s alternator bracket, so that's at the alternator back where it was for the pulley on the harmonic balancer. So anyways, it's all back together. Fluids are in, just about ready to fire it up. A couple of little things I want to kind of do, and might see it running on the next little bit. Before I start it up, kind of going to explain a little bit about this neutral safety switch that I couldn't find any info much anywhere else. There's kind of two styles of starter solenoids, one with two connections like the one you see here, and one with a single with the starter relay somewhere on the firewall or the inner fender. Well, the neutral safety switch is on the side of the transmission, and it's just a button on it that gets pushed by the selector. Okay, I kind of wanted to have this neutral safety switch working properly because as this is my wife's car, so I kind of want it the way it should be. And with the push button transmission, it can get confusing quite easily. So anyways, it was hard to find information. A lot of the guys have the extra relay on the firewall, so that kind of throws you off the base a little bit. But what the neutral safety switch is doing is it's actually the ground for the relay, whether it's on the starter or whether it's on the firewall. Well, the one on this car, that spring inside the neutral safety switch was weak and didn't always have a good ground, so it wasn't working properly. So when the engine was out and the exhaust was over and I had the suspension torsion bar pushed back, gave me some room to change that neutral safety switch. And I also extracted a few liters of transmission fluid, because otherwise I'm pretty sure you're going to be wearing it. So anyways, this one's got the two connections. I got the one there you can see in the shot where the jump starter is, like the external starter, so I don't have to go inside the car. I can just start it right from here. And yeah, it seems to be working. So back to the way it should be. So anyways, I started this a couple days ago, so it's been sitting just like if you'd be occasionally driving it in the summertime. It's in the shop right now. It's 16 degrees in here, which is about 61. Okay, and here's a shot of the carb. The choke plate is wide open, and there's fuel in the filter. When I first started it, I put fuel in through that vent because there was no fuel in the fuel line as the engine was out. So anyways, let's give it a shot, see if it starts. Okay, so what's supposed to happen here is that choke's supposed to flip shut. See what happens. Give it 2 shots. Okay, I gotta hook up my ground here on the battery. And we'll hit the starter, see if she goes. A little bit of not choking quite as much. I'm not sure what it's running at. I didn't hook up the tach. I'm just kind of doing it by ear. Okay, I put shut the car off, and so you can hear me a little bit better. And I put the wires back on that solenoid the way it's supposed to be. Disconnected the remote starter, and seems to be running pretty good. What else? Okay, when I first started it, the timing was retarded quite a bit. So, but not enough that I had to pull the distributor out and move it over, and so just had to time it with the timing light, which is up front here, so wasn't too bad. Probably out 10 degrees after top dead center or something like that, but it started. And after running it, I noticed my steering box was leaking oil, because I put in 80-90 gear oil, and that's what it says in the manual. But it gets pretty hot from the exhaust pipe there and the aluminum gearbox. So I made that heat shield. Hopefully it won't leak as much as it was before. And I was reading some blogs where should be using lithium or moly grease in there instead of oil. The oil is just when it separates a little bit and some leaks out. But I guess I've got another one, so I'm going to rebuild it and swap it out and put grease in that one, and hopefully it doesn't leak. Thanks.